Hello, today we're going to talk about narcissists. Why am I wearing glasses? Because I'm not a narcissist. I don't like the way I look, but narcissism is something that we like to throw out rather casually. It enjoys a lot of flash in the media right now. And if you've ever had like a bad boss, or if you've had like a terrible coworker, then what we do is we say, oh, they're a narcissist, and be on our merry way because we've justified what they've done to us. Therapists do it all the time with their colleagues. If they don't like the colleagues, they'd just be like, oh, yeah, they're a narcissist. But why don't we talk about what a narcissist actually is? And this is going to be a practical video, more or less about how to deal with narcissists in your life. And again, like when you go online or in popular media, there's all of these like silly people out there that are like, 5 signs that you're dating a narcissist or something like that. Or don't listen to any of that stuff. And narcissism, interestingly enough, like many interesting psychological phenomena, grew out of the psychoanalytic traditions, like with Freud and stuff like that, and eventually got codified into the modern Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM. And so, but the DSM is based on research, but it all started with theory. And that psychological theory started out in philosophy, and philosophy had its roots in mythology. And there's a really, really interesting story. But let's just cut to the chase of what the research says, okay? So, narcissistic personality disorder is what it's called. It's a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, whether it's like in their imaginations, like they're a star in their own heads, or in their behavior, and they need to be admired, and they lack empathy, like they treat you like like nothing. Like it's really exhausting and angering to be around a narcissist, and it begins in early adulthood and across different parts of your life. And the 5 criteria are, a grandiose sense of self-importance. Everything's really important. I am the most important thing, right? And my needs come for it. Like if I'm waiting at the airport, everybody get out of my way, because here comes Mr. Special, and I deserve my needs to be met first. Then they have these fantasies of power and success, and they'll talk about how they've done really great things, even though they haven't really done them. They exaggerate. And they expect to be patted on the back for achievements that they've never really actually accomplished. Now, they believe that they're special and unique and can only be understood by people who are also special and unique. You'll see them try to gravitate to very special people, or higher echelons, or the in crowd for whatever group they're a part of. And they have a sense of entitlement, meaning, they expect favoritism and special treatment, even though they're just a regular person. And they expect you to go ahead and go along with it, automatically, you should be doing this. And they exploit people, what can I get out of you? Which is different than a psychopath for very different reasons. And sometimes it may feel like, they don't have a conscience and stuff like that, but it operates differently than a criminal. And, so they don't have empathy for other feelings. They don't really care what you're going through. You should be caring about them. And they don't come to therapy very often, by the way. and they're envious of other people. It was really interesting, because I did my training in Manhattan, which is a very great place for narcissists, because if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere, that kind of thing. And there's this guy who worked for a very, very high echelon magazine, like high culture, high art, and stuff like that. And I was assessing him for narcissism, and I said, do you ever get jealous of other people's achievements and successes? And he thought about it, and he goes, it depends on how successful they are. That's kind of fun. Depending on who you believe, it's around 1.6% of the population, could go up to 6%, and so there is a research-based foundation for it. What's much more interesting and useful is the psychodynamic, the psychoanalytic point of view. And you'll see people come along and they have these defenses. They're trying to protect themselves from what, may you ask? And by the way, do men have it more than women? I'll tell you later. So what happens is we all go through a narcissistic phase when we're kids, right? You see that certain kind of age where a little kid walks in the room and everybody just stops what they're doing and they go over there and woo, and they're like, oh my goodness, look how strong you are, and they pick up a cushion. I could pick up the whole couch, but they pick up a cushion oh, very good, and stuff like that. And they have a deep desire to be valued and have this magical sense that they are the most important thing in the room. Because when they walk in the room, and you're a little kid, you probably don't remember it, but this happened to you. And people stopped what they were doing. They're like, they really paid attention to you. And we need that. That's a part of our nurturing. I remember I was at the gym at the YMCA, the one from the song, and because it's from New York. And this little girl was going down the stairs to where the pool is, and she almost slipped and she almost hit somebody, but she caught herself. She was able to recover and, stick the landing, as it were. And then she stopped, and you could see the sense of excitement because she almost smacked herself on the floor. She almost hit somebody else, but she was able to rally her reaction time and stick the landing. And then she looked up the stairs where everybody was, and I was there, and she says, I did good, right? And there was a flash in that moment where she got a little shot of self-esteem, and everybody kind of did that thing. And narcissists, they, often, what's even sadder is when you have a narcissistic mother that doesn't really care about you, doesn't have the empathy for you, doesn't pay attention to you or anything like that. And there's a deep emptiness, a hollowness inside of them. There is a deep sense of shame. And I want to make this distinction that's really important. There's a difference between shame and guilt. Guilt is when you do something wrong and you feel bad about it. Narcissists as adults don't feel that way because they didn't do anything wrong. It's your stupid fault, right? Or, they'll get angry with you, when things don't go their way. They don't want to look at themselves. They look at you and see what's wrong with you. So guilt is when you do something wrong. Say I tripped that little girl on the stairs and she fell down. Then I would feel guilty because I did something wrong. I shouldn't be going around tripping little girls. But shame is different. Shame is when you feel like you are bad. Not what you do, but yourself. Your sense of self is just bad, and narcissists can't handle that. What they do is they form these defenses that they are special, that what they want is important. Everything goes around them. They're talented, they're special, they're beautiful, and they're obsessed. You can see this especially with aging narcissists, that they get upset that their bodies are aging, and they get like what do you call that? Hypochondriacal, like they worry about getting diseases and death, because they feel like there's something wrong with them, and that beauty fades, and that's going to be like the worst thing for someone like that. And so, there's this empathetic failure that happens in life, and on the Patreon page for budding therapists or armchair psychologists, if you subscribe at the $20 level, not only do you get the awesome t-shirts and stickers, but you'll get access to things like the therapeutic implications of that. And I'm dying to say it to it, but I've got to save something for the Patreon, right? But there's this intense feeling in them that it's hollow, empty, and there's something missing from their lives, but they don't show you that. They show you the bravado, the grandiosity, I'm really great, without showing any real results, or they got to hang out with the right people, or they got to be beautiful and that kind of stuff. And like the president-elect Trump, a lot of people in pop culture were like, oh, he's a narcissist and stuff like that. Narcissists don't really have a capacity for love, and it looks like the president-elect loves his family, maybe because they are reflections on himself and they make him look good. Like, I remember one time he said his daughter was hot, and she's like, that's weird, but like that kind of like lack of awareness that her beauty reflects on him, but he didn't notice that it was gonna like affect her in the moment. So I'm not gonna weigh in on that. But this idea that they've got to impress people, that they've got to be special and important and entitled and vain and superior to you, you'll get all of that, but you won't see the deep, dark secret inside, which is the loneliness, the shallowness, the painful neglect that they went through as kids. And I will say this, that when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's going to be a real tough thing, because they're going to go around doing all sorts of things that might upset you, like they'll just take the last piece of pizza because they're special, or they'll ditch you and go hang out with other people because the other people are supposedly better and stuff like that. They'll do all sorts of things to be upsetting in their personal lives, especially if they can't really generate a feeling of love. And the real way to sort of like help them, if you're going to have them in your lives, which is a challenge to be around people like that. If you've been around a true narcissist, you're kind of like, you want to pull your hair out and be like, come on, can't you treat me like a human being the way I treat you? And they don't notice, they don't care, they don't go to therapy, because there's nothing wrong with them, right? It's everybody else. And if they do go to therapy, well, then, the therapist is kind of an idiot, doesn't really know what they're doing. And meanwhile, the therapist knows exactly, like they've heard it all before, and it's just taxing on the brain. And so, the hard part about dealing with them is, how do you get them to accept themselves? How do you nurture that in themselves without buying into making them this special thing that they're not, or doing what happened to them early on in life, which is cut them down and slice them in half, their ego and their self-esteem, which is already crushed, but it's hard to see behind all of the the bells and whistles that they put on about how special they are. So let's see, let me get back to they're going to make mistakes, and how are you going to be able to interface with them when they make a mistake with you, or make a mistake with others, without digging into this well of shame, and I'm really tempted to talk about what to do with them in therapy, but I'm going to save that for the Patreon. But the narcissist, like anybody else, is going to make mistakes, and can they tolerate the fact that you saw them vulnerable like that? As you can see, it is quite different than the psychopath. So basically there's a hollowness inside, and I want to finish up here with the origin of it all, and see, like, remember, there's like the DSM, like the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual that psychiatrists use today, based on research, came from the brilliance of all of the early analysts. And the brilliance of the early analysts drew upon the time-honored wisdom of the Western culture tradition. By the way, narcissism is much more is pronounced in Western societies, or societies that encourage the growth of the individual, versus like where I am in Japan, where everybody is expected. There's this idea of this like harmony of being careful how you express yourself, how you present yourself to others, how you treat others, because we're all in it together. And but that's not the case in the Western. Like, do the best you can, and half the movies are about like what is it that you are meant for. It's about how special you are, right? But the narcissism comes from a Greek myth, and it's really delicious. And I'd like to end with this. By the way, men have it more than women. Isn't that surprising? You figured like the women would be obsessed with their beauty and making themselves look, look all fancy and beautiful, but it's like birds, where the males are the ones that have all the fancy plumage and stuff like that. They're the ones that are trying to look good. The men are actually more narcissistic than the women. Anyway, so the idea of narcissism comes from a Greek myth, and there's this guy named Narcissus, and he was a beautiful young man, and he was the object of many people's affections, but he didn't return their love. And Nemesis, isn't this cool? Nemesis is the god of revenge, and Nemesis tricked him into falling in love with his own reflection. So he's so beautiful, and he doesn't return love, but he really loves himself. And Nemesis, the god of revenge, tricks him into falling in love with his reflection, and he becomes so in love with his own reflection that he can't move, and eventually he died by falling into the water and drowning. And the flower is the incarnation. I think it's the daffodil is the incarnation of his spirit, bringing beauty to life in a different form that everybody can appreciate and enjoy. And so I really think that's wonderful. Having said all that, please like and subscribe. Go to the Patreon. Get yourself your stickers. Like, if you join the 20 and 50 level, then you get the t-shirts for free and the stickers for free. And if you're on the $20 level, you'll get video and content behind the scenes that you won't see anywhere else. You'll get the t-shirts, you'll get the stickers, but also you'll get the wisdom that I won't share on the free channel. And with the $50, you get the t-shirts, the stickers, but also a chance to have an audience with me or ask me a question through email. And I'll do my best to serve you well. So, take a good look here at the different websites. You got heraldsquarepsychology.com, and you've got, that's the New York one. And then there's the Bunny Therapy, Therapist for Me. So it's therapist, number 4, for me.jp for Japan, where they are a collectivistic culture. New York is definitely the more narcissistic, individualized culture. And the Patreon's right there for you to go on there and you don't even have to spend $1. The basic rate is $1, and for that you can get some songs. Like, check out the channel. I wrote some words, poems, lyrics, and set them to music, and it turned out to be pretty good. I'm impressed. Not that I'm a narcissist. So anyway, go to the Patreon, go to the website. The websites have nothing for you to buy. The websites are there for you to get access to services, and you can book appointments, and somebody will call you for free to make sure that we can help you and make arrangements. And we have students at a very low rate. We have super high professors and seasoned professionals. So there's a whole range of experience prices, but it doesn't really matter how much experience you have sometimes, or what your specialty is, if you can actually connect with that person. And it's a wonderful thing, because a therapist can be the opposite of a narcissist. Well, they can be. Sometimes you might get some bad luck, but they can drop all the stuff about them and focus in on you. And having said that, I wish you good mental health, better behavior, and more flexible beliefs. And see you in the next one. Go to the page and see all the rest of the videos. Bye.